So, let's talk about something that's been happening that is, well, it's pretty wild. We're looking at a geopolitical standoff in the high north that's putting two NATO allies head to head. And really, it's bringing the entire future of the Arctic into question. Okay, let's just dive right in. The whole thing really blew up with this statement from the White House. I mean, this isn't your typical diplomatic back and forth. This is a direct, bold declaration of intent, and it sent absolute shockwaves across the Atlantic. And that quote really makes you stop and think, right? What does that even mean today? We're going to peel back the layers here, go beyond the headlines, and look at what's really going on. We're talking about strategy, resources, climate change, and what sovereignty even means anymore. So first things first, what's the official story? How does an idea that sounds like it's straight out of a history book, just acquiring territory, get sold in the 21st century? Well, the White House has laid out its case, and they seem to think it's a strong one. And here it is, laid out plain and simple. You've got two countries, longtime friends, allies in NATO for decades, and now they are at a complete and total standstill. On one side, the U.S. is saying this is a must-do for our national security. On the other, Denmark and Greenland are basically saying this is an attack on who we are. It's a standoff like we haven't really seen before. Okay, so what's the logic from the White House? Well, it all boils down to a high-stakes game of chess in the Arctic. They're looking at Russia reopening old Soviet military bases up there. They're seeing China call itself a near-Arctic state and pour money into the region. The nightmare scenario for them? An independent Greenland getting cozy with one of their rivals, creating a huge vulnerability right on their doorstep. But it's never just about one thing. This isn't just about military bases and maps. If geopolitics is the top layer, what's underneath is a massive story about resources, money, and, well, a warming planet that's changing everything. And get this number, over 5,000 square kilometers of ice. That's an area the size of Trinidad and Tobago, just gone in less than 40 years. Climate change isn't some far-off concept here. It is physically uncovering a new reality. And with it, a whole new field for competition between world power. And this is the prize that the melting ice is starting to reveal. It's basically a treasure chest. We're talking about one of the planet's biggest untapped stashes of critical minerals, rare earths, the stuff that powers your phone, your computer, the tech we all rely on, plus a ton of other resources crucial for everything from green energy to fighter jets. So you have this huge push from Washington. But how's it being received? Well, not well. At all. In fact, it's been met with a solid wall of resistance, and not just from politicians, but from the 57,000 people who actually live in Greenland. And the message coming out of both Greenland's capital, Nuuk, and from Copenhagen in Denmark has been incredibly clear from day one. They're basically saying, look, this isn't a negotiation. It's not about the price. You can't buy our country. You can't buy our identity. And if you ask the people of Greenland themselves, wow, the numbers pretty much say it all. An incredible 85% say no way. This isn't some divided opinion. It's one of those rare issues where nearly everyone is on the same page, and that's a message that's pretty hard to ignore. Okay, now this is where the story gets really interesting. Look at this response from other European countries. Now, you might see those troop numbers and think, that's not very many. And you'd be right, but this isn't about military might. It's all about the political message. This is other NATO allies sending forces to show solidarity with Denmark, essentially telling another NATO member, hey, back off. And what about people back in the US? Are they all on board with this idea? Nope, not even close. This poll shows that a solid majority of Americans, 55%, are against it. Only 17% are for it. That just adds another layer of complication for the White House to deal with. All right, let's just zoom out for a second. What does all of this mean? What is the bigger picture that's being revealed as the ice melts and these tensions rise? Because it's really not. What we're watching happen in Greenland is like a perfect storm. It's where all of our modern fears and some of our oldest, most basic human impulses are all crashing into each other. Think about it. You've got this deep anxiety about other world powers getting ahead. You've got this bottomless hunger for the resources that make our modern world run. And you've got the very real, undeniable consequences of a warming planet. And it's all converging on this one giant ice-covered island. And this is what's so wild, right? On the one hand, we are incredibly brilliant. We have the technology to literally watch the ice melt from space in real time, to map every mineral underneath it, to model what's going to happen next. Our ability to understand is just Astounding. And yet, what do we do with all that incredible knowledge? We seem to fall back on the same old playbook. It's power politics, it's a grab for territory. It feels like we're using 21st century technology to chase 19th century ambitions. And that really leaves us with the big question, doesn't it? If this is what progress looks like, where exactly are we all progressing to? It's something to really think about, because as the ice keeps melting, this story is far from over.